Hey everybody, this is the OkayOk live stream. I'm here working on the cover for Sanderson Step Sisters issue 14. Plugin up. Yeah, so if you can't tell by my voice, I've been so very sick this month. This disease has lasted me more than 3 weeks, and I'm so ready to be over it. I'm very, very sorry for the delay in this comic. I was even thinking about paying someone to finish it for me to get it out on time, but being the last comic in this series, which has been my longest running series, I just couldn't do it. So, yeah, it's one of those things where if I don't do it, it doesn't get done, and I could not do it. My voice is just barely back today, and I'm feeling amazing compared to how I've been feeling. So I'm really eager to get this out and to finish it. And I want to just say thank you for all your patience and waiting for me to get better and to get back to finishing this. And I think I'm like 2 weeks behind schedule now because I've been sick for 3 weeks, and just there's no way to plan for all that. So I'm gonna kind of just be shading on Swamp Princess over here. I'd like to get a little bit of reflective light going on the moon up here. And I'm basically gonna rough out all the shading, the light and dark areas right now. Let's see. I'm gonna kind of have her lit from below, so we'll kind of get this like flashlight look going on. Oh, it's been a rough February. It's been like a nightmare of a month, and just ready for March. I think March was going to be a much better month. Alright. Let's see here. So I'm not really going off of any reference photos for the Swamp Princess, so I'm just kind of making this up as I go. I'm hoping that she kind of looks believable and looks like kind of like photo realistic. I finished coloring all the pages today, so I'm really excited to get those out to you. I'm thinking that late tonight I'll be able to get it all uploaded, and if you're still online, then you'll be able to view them tonight, or I'm on Eastern time, Yankee time, New York City, East Coast, USA. So yeah, it'll probably that'll be about when this will be done. Let's see. I used my hand to get some reference for this hand over here, and it's kind of hard when you're using your left hand. Yeah, it's my left hand. No, it's my right hand. It's a right hand, and I use my right hand to draw, so I'm holding the pose for a second and taking a photo with my mind, and coming back and doing my best to remember what I saw. Let me see if the Yeah, the mic is picking up. I don't have the chat on right now because I don't have time to chat right now. But if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in a comment or send me a note on DeviantArt, and I will be sure to get to them. I'm starting to get caught up. I still need to get caught up on my Patreon. I've just gotten so far behind with everything, and I'm excited to get caught up. Hopefully that will be soon. I watched a movie on Amazon Prime the other day, which I just have to talk about for a second. The movie is called Sorceress, and I'm sure it's like this cult classic movie because it's like a really bad movie, but it's hilarious. It's kind of this genre of Trolls 2 and Samurai Cop. If you have Amazon Prime, check out Sorceress because it's hilarious. There's some girls who are twins, identical twins, and I guess they're like magical. And I thought it was pretty funny that they wrote into the script that the girls don't know that they're girls and they don't know the difference between boys and girls, and how just ridiculously stupid this plot is. And also the goat man, I don't know what he is, but there's a goat man, and he's kind of annoying, but he's also hilarious because he's so stupid. Alright, those are the basics of lights and darks. I'm going to move on and just continue doing basics. We're doing the tree stump hat crown thing. This is Swamp Princess. So she has a like a stump for a hat. Not a hat. A crown. And so I'm gonna get some texture on there first. And I might use a multiply layer to then shade it. Alright, let me see here. Let's use a gritty brush. I feel like I gritted up a little too much right there. We'll kind of work it. Just kind of experiment with it and have fun. I'm gonna make some happy mistakes, maybe. Alright. Alright. I think stark contrast, like Tony Stark, stark contrast is going to be a good look for this since it's nighttime, and it'll be more dramatic since it's a cover. So this is looking pretty good to me. I'm going to add a little bit more grit. Seem to lose a little bit of that grit. Now let's try. I think I've got a new brush down here that I want to try out. And here I'm kind of stippling the brush as well as gliding it on the surface. I'm going to move up to a multiply layer. And we'll get a new brush, this one. Now this is going to go kind of almost black. And I'm wanting to go kind of black towards the end of the edge of the page. Sort of fade off. Again, going for a lot of grit. Now we could try to come back with some highlights, give a little more depth to it. I'm going to shrink the brush up a little bit. There we go. Alright. Now it might be good to kind of make a little bit more definition up here so you can kind of see the inking a little bit. I feel like it is all kind of running together a little too much. Okay. That seems good enough for me. It's very gritty and it provides a different texture, which I'm liking. So I'm going to stick with that. I like to do this little clasp here, a little bit different shade of color. So we're going to go slightly lighter, make it feel different. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to try to make it a little less grittier, more like a really ragged bone. So I think we can use some of these brushes. And not super gritty, but just kind of like it's porous almost, porous bones. I think this brush is used to shade skin. So it's kind of the same effect we're going for. Alright. Let's see. 9 might be a good brush because it's not really it's not really like an ink pen. It's like a jagged paintbrush. And I'm going to try to kind of give it some line texture because you kind of see that in bone sometimes. Alright. Give it just a little bit of a texture there. Not too strong. Alright, now I'm going to probably come in with the multiply layer after, well, I'll just go ahead and do this other side before I do it so it looks very similar on both sides. I don't lose my color that I'm using. Alright. Not really sure what this is that she's wearing, but it's kind of like meant to look like bones. Like sharp, jagged bones. Alright. Now we need to find the brush that I think it might be 33 that I'm looking for. Alright, now we're going to go to a more brown and we're going to go to a multiply. I'm not going to go too strong. And this brush is not the one I think it was. Was thinking it was. So it might be the 127. Yeah, that's it. Oh, it's a little too harsh. This is not the brush I was thinking of. These are not the droids you're looking for. Alright, let's see here. Where is that brush I'm looking for? I'm looking for something with a low flow. No, that's not it. I think this might be it. They all look so similar. It's hard to tell which one's which. I'm thinking I might use a cast shadow coming from underneath her head to kind of make that pop a little bit more. Maybe we'll just kind of fade this into the darkness, get it really dark. That way it'll kind of blend into the night. Alright. Now we're going to do the same thing over here and get it dark. Yeah, so that is about how I want it. I'm going to do just a little bit of a fading off into the darkness off of the side of the page so you don't follow the light off to the page, off of the page. Don't follow the light. Don't follow. Okay. Yeah. So this is looking good. It seems like we're gonna need some highlights on her skin because this skin in the forefront is just so three-dimensional that if we leave her like that, she's gonna look very out of sorts and like she doesn't belong on this page. So I'm going to use my selection tool and grab her again with her consent, I hope. And yeah, so now I'm going to try using our like airbrush brush, and I'll get a lightness going. I'm going to actually go to another layer and use another layer to do the highlights, and that way I can easily manipulate the highlights. It's something I like to do if I'm trying to be really careful, and it's something like cover. It's a practice I do where you're able to really work with the highlights, and it's easier to erase a highlight than it is to just kind of match it up and get the same color as its surroundings. So I'm going to just highlight the nose a little bit and get a little bit of highlight there and there. And I don't have reference I'm going off of, but I've got a lot of history of drawing portraits, so I kind of know what I'm doing. I've got some experience. I would not suggest winging it unless you have experience, because it might not look right. Alright, so if I had a reference, it would probably help actually. So here's a little shot of me being able to manipulate the highlights. This allows me to kind of erase that and give it a little bit of texture, like your tendons down here. You've got some stringy tendons under your palm, and now we can kind of highlight those. Let's see, there's two major tendons, and they're on the thumb side over here. So we have like one major tendon right here and one major tendon right here. And I'm looking at my hand as I do this. So yeah, there we go. And now I'm going to use the eraser, make it a little bit bigger. There, now it looks pretty good. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is the hand. I'm looking at my hand, and on a normal hand you've got crazy amount of wrinkles and like palm reader, what do you call those lines? Just wrinkles? I don't know, but there's a crazy amount of those. We're going to try to just abstract it and try to get a really small amount of wrinkles. So even though she's a swamp princess and probably has tons of wrinkles from being in the swamp all day 24/7, we're going to try to limit the amount of wrinkles. But you can use a special brush in my download pack. This is the one that I've used many times before. It kind of gives a nice skin texture and not an airbrush texture. It is the 394 brush, and I really suggest using that if you don't want it to look super airbrushed and if you want it to look a little more organic. There we go, and I think that's looking much better than the airbrush. And it looks like it's time for me to head out. I'm gonna go eat some dinner, and then I'll be back to finish this cover.